Welcome to our Elevate annual giving thanks gathering of leaders, spouses, friends, and families, and some old Elevate alumni. We are here to celebrate personal growth and achievement in leadership. Waking up every day to do your best, to be your best, to do the little things that make big things happen, to be the best mother, be the best father, be the best friend, or be the best leader you can be. To do it all with honesty, integrity, and a sense of purpose. To improve your family, your company, yourself, your community, and of course our world. Great leaders are made of many things. There are many traits that serve leaders well, but I personally believe that being capable of vulnerability must be the most important. To be vulnerable is the greatest measure of courage. It is uncertainty with an emotional exposure, and that's not something that's easy for all of us to do. It takes a big person to say, I'm sorry, to say I was wrong, to do what it takes to fix a wrong, to always give more than you receive, to ask for forgiveness, to put others before oneself. I believe all of that makes for great leadership. Our leadership forms create real opportunities to teach, to share, to learn. How you balance your professional and personal life is simply who you are. Tonight we will honor 24 graduates, and I would ask those in the forums, the Elevated Accelerated Leadership programs, if you'd line up over here, we can expedite this thing so y'all can get back to eating, drinking, and having a good time and not having to listen to me. Tonight we'll honor 24 graduates of the 2 Accelerate Leadership programs, which is a 10-month program that helps those already in leadership, but working to enhance their skills and those leadership skills and how to manage people, to think strategically, and to think like you are an owner or a CEO. And those of us that have been in the leadership position for a long time, I think the thing that we see first in great young leaders is it becomes real evident the ones that are willing to own it. You can't be a great leader if you're not willing to own it. And that really can't be taught. You're either wired that way and you understand, and you've understood a long time that you would rather be a leader with all the stuff that goes with it than to be a follower. But never forget, great leaders need many, many, many good followers. And we also know that at this time for these young folks, it's also one of the most difficult periods, because when you are trying to change your life and change your position in life and to make progress for all the things we talked about earlier, your family, your community and all that, you got to be willing to sacrifice. And the reason I mention family is most of the time our families suffer because we're chasing that green dollar bill. So it is the balance that we all make personally and professionally that allow us to accomplish what we need to accomplish and do it effectively and still be that person at home so your kids grow up knowing you and understanding what your values are. They're paying attention. Don't ever forget that. Been in the restaurant business for 150 years on Dixon Street. My wife raised our 3 children. I was there when she needed me, but I spent a whole lot of time on Dixon Street slinging tacos. But it did wonderful things for our family, okay? And now that my kids are all adults and we've had those adult conversations, I know that they miss me, but they understood. Because we had a communication that we did share the fact that it was painful to not be there. So don't miss the opportunity to spend time with your families and watch your kids grow up. And hopefully you work for an organization that understands how important that is and the importance of that. Because more important than business is our families and our community. If we take care of those things, business is going to take care of itself. It really is. Just wake up and do things for the right reasons. So tonight we've got some wonderful awards for these people and some great recognition, and they deserve it. The awards are created tonight by our friends and the talented people at Creative Awards. We appreciate that. McBee, as we all know him, Steve McFly, thank you to you and your team. Ed? All right, let me go. All right. I said we got 24 people. We have 24 people that graduated, but they're not all here tonight, so I'm just going to go down the list here. Ben Davis, part of the Form 7 Accelerated Leadership class. Good job, Ben. Ben showed up at the side door tonight and was impressed that I couldn't open the door to let him in. He was impressed with security, so that's good. Ben said, I used to office down here. You could get in and out any door, anytime. I go, things are different. Bethany Podge. No, not here. Braden Townsley. Chris Gelbreth. Elizabeth Pranger. Is Harry here? All right, Delgado? No? Jared Hornberger? Katie Barron. Kevin Thompson. Will Nicholson. There you go. I knew the sun would show up. Thank God he takes after his mother. That's fair, isn't it? Okay, good. I thought you'd agree with me. Part of the Accelerate Leadership Form 9 graduates, Allison Inman. Julie Cherry. One of my favorite people in the whole world, not that the others aren't, but our chef from Bordino's, who didn't dress up for the occasion tonight because he undressed to get here because he's preparing food for the Walton Arts Center big party tomorrow night, Chef Matt Barkley. Fayetteville boy. Sarah Dabney. Stephanie Funk. I guess I might as well tell everybody. So when you come up to get your picture, the photographer's here, not here, so I go through 20 people before I finally wake up here. All right. Sorry, I could have helped you out a long time ago. Tom Peterson. Fantastic. Ed, you got anything to say about these folks?
They're great folks.
Thank you, Ed. Hey, I'll tell you what, Ed's been a wonderful addition to the Elevate family, and Ed, thanks for all your great work, man. Thanks for keeping Tim lined up. A lot of us have tried. Okay, Super Mentor Award. This award was created in 2011 in honor of Todd Wood, one of our early alumni. Todd was very skillful, sharing his wisdom and solutions. To be mentored by, as the quote by Tim, to be mentored by Todd was a joy to a handful of fortunate individuals. So tonight we have 3 honorees to present awards, the Super Mentor Award. Tom Fayetteville, where are you? Tom, and where's Stuart? Where's Stuart? Stuart and Nance, come on up here. Jeanette, did you show up and I miss you? There you are. If y'all will come up here, then I'll let you handle it from here.
Thank you, Joe. Just to clarify, I'm not the super mentor award winner. But I do get to share a little bit of information with you about a very good friend of mine, someone that has been a great mentor from CEO Forum 1, and that's Michael Palladino with Rev Unit. So Michael, if you will kind of make your way to the front here. Tim, you're a little risky. I'm unscripted. I am totally unscripted. So it's been a real pleasure to get to know Michael over the last few years when he's been part of our CEO Forum 1. I want to share with you how Michael's changed my life. And it's because of the CEO Forum. Processing through some things, it was my day to present, and you know, I noticed Michael over there. He wasn't really paying attention. You know, he was on his iPad or his phone or something, and I was actually kind of getting irritated with the guy.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I was. And all of a sudden he piped up. He said, "Well, who's your target market?" I said, "What?" He said, "Who's your target market?" And I was just like a deer in the headlights. I did not know how to respond. Now, Clay was not there that day, all right? So it was safe. It was safe for me to say, well, home builders. Because we did a good job for Clay, right? But, you know, that was just, I was so unprepared. What happened after that, though, for me has been really incredible. So I went back with this challenge of who is our target market? And I will just say that, you know, not only has it changed who we target for our customers in our business, but it's completely changed our organization trying to you know, prepare us to serve those and made us better operators at what we do. It's really about who you serve, and Michael serves people. He serves people really well. He is always willing to share knowledge. He's kind of a tech geek. Would you say that?
I would love to still hold that.
Yeah, I'm kind of a tech geek guy too, you know. from a different angle. But he comes with some amazing information about what's going on in the world from technology. And I learn every time I'm with him. And he's willing to share his time with others to help them be better. He's willing to serve. And I just really, count myself lucky and fortunate to consider Michael a friend and a fellow CEO Forum member. And, I just say, job well done. Okay, so I don't know if I'm supposed to give you something now or what. Tim wasn't prepared on that either. But job well done.
It must be gotta be available. Think size. There we go.
Someone gets
Evening, folks. I'm here to talk about a friend that's in CEO Forum 3 and mentor to many of you, especially in the leadership group, Ramsey Ball. Ramsey has an accomplished background in real estate, private investment, operating companies, community development, and nonprofits in many areas of Arkansas. But for the last few years, Northwest Arkansas has been his focus, much to our delight. What he's been doing is creating sustainable projects and ventures that improve the quality of life in this region. We now affectionately refer to him as our community developer. Ramsey grew up in Monticello, where he graduated from high school in '76 and began working got his MBA there also, and quickly joined Barnes, Quinn, Flake, and Anderson in Little Rock, which was the biggest real estate firm in Little Rock at the time, and grew and prospered with that company before joining several other very successful companies in the area, before moving here in 2003 to start his own full-service real estate commercial company that ultimately ended up being part of the Colliers International Group. Ramsey left Colliers in January of this year, is now focused on investment and new development real estate. At one time, Ramsey served on 10 boards. But he's not the kind of guy that has every one of them listed on his resume or on his business card. But is there a board that he hasn't served on? Do you actually know how many boards you serve on? That's how much he gives to the community. He mentioned when he was on these boards, he mentors every leader and makes key introductions to the fellow CEO members in our forums, rolled up his sleeves. He invested in many of them. Whatever it took, Ramsey was there to mentor these people through whatever challenges these entrepreneurs had. He now serves on the governing boards of the House of Songs Alliance, the Arkansas Community Foundation, the Northwest Arkansas Community College Foundation, and the Bentonville Parks Conservancy. Ramsey is an entrepreneur at heart, though. He super supports the entrepreneurial program at the University of Arkansas Walton College of Business. It's worth noting that as I mentioned, he's actively engaged in many early-stage Northwest Arkansas venture investments at a very early time in this region's entrepreneurial development cycle. Way before venture capital in Northwest Arkansas was cool, Ramsey was at the cutting edge of that. He worked with the Northwest Arkansas Council to convene a large group involved in area entrepreneurship and venture capital. It was a brilliant exercise to start the right type of fund for this market. He showed that he could collaborate with the best of them and bring together the best of people for regional projects of importance. Please welcome Rambo.
this, I owe a lot to the CEO Forum and Tim and Ed and all the people here, and I think you'll hear it over and over. You're in a car and the motor's roaring and you've got the gas pedal down and the smoke's pouring out. You look by and the trees aren't going by. Okay, and sometimes you've got to let off the gas pedal to get a little traction, and sometimes you think about how can I spend 3 hours on a Friday, and I'll go answer phone calls or emails or stuff like that. You might come in a little reluctantly, but you always leave with a lot more than you came in with. And so it's just amazing what you can get out of this group and the people that are here. So you're with a wonderful tribe. And so I'm just glad to be here with my tribe. So thank you.
Hello, I am Jeanette Valleza Collins, and I'm very pleased to call Sarah Goforth Heights up here. Sarah is the Executive Director for the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the University of Arkansas. She, before that, was the Director of Outreach, and she's also a professor at the University of Arkansas. And I wanted her to come up here because as a super mentor, she's often not the one in the spotlight. And so I'm relishing the opportunity to have her here and tell you about many of the same things that you heard here. There's a common thread. Sarah is exactly what the defining characteristics of a mentor is. She delights in the success of others. She asks wonderfully poignant questions to entrepreneurs, and she's able to help innovators tease out the story that they want to tell in order to get their next customers, in order to get investors, in order to tell their story. And she has done time and time again orchestration of the entrepreneurial support organizations across Northwest Arkansas. She constantly is figuring out ways to lean into the community and bring smart people in the room together who are doing brilliant work and helping us multiply our impact together. And for that, we are very, very thankful. You'll see, you probably can't walk around downtown Fayetteville without running into some of the entrepreneurs that she helps either in her classes or through her work at the Brewer Family Entrepreneurship Hub. Moorbot, the makers of Moorbot, More Technologies, are in the house, and she was very instrumental in helping them with their Kickstarter campaign, and really is just, again, a force and a titan in her own right, which makes sense since she is among titans at the Brewer family with Dr. Carol Reeves and with Dr. Rogelio Garcia Contreras. And so I wanted, on behalf of all the people who you continue to help and all the people who are really driving the economic growth in the area, you sit at that intersection of what Heartland Forward tells us all the time. It is the role of the university and the entrepreneurship that is really driving the economic growth that we as Northwest Arkansas continue and strive to develop, and you're at the crux of that. So congratulations, and I will turn the mic over to you because I'm ready.
Wow, what an honor to be here and in such incredible company. It's funny to get this award because I always say that my leadership style is following really super smart people. And I was lured here back to Arkansas, where I grew up after almost 20 years on the East Coast, by a super mentor in her own right, Carol Reeves, who's here with me tonight. Carol, I'm so grateful for your continued mentoring and support. And I would say if I've learned one thing from you, it is that you will not go wrong by following really great people who are full of integrity and have experience, but also know the limits of their experience. To me, that's what it is to be a great mentor. So thank you so much. And Ramsey, I'm here with my tribe and owe so much to you as well. Thank you, everyone.
Tim, you didn't tell me I had to give awards out. It's not on my script. The next award is the John Lewis Award. John made us all better. John lived for the community. You know, I knew John for probably 20 years. You know, every time John visited my Mexican restaurant, he always came in. He always wanted to know how I was doing and how the street was doing, and you know, and it wasn't about John. It was about everybody else. I've been fortunate enough to get to know all the Lewises. The Lewis has been all very helpful to my family and helping us get acquainted after we moved to Fayetteville in 1978, and I'm indebted to all of the Lewises. So John was different than his other brothers, as we're all different from our brothers and sisters. So, you know, John, I think John woke up every day and community was first for John. And, you know, it'd been nice to have John here longer than he was with us, because John would have enjoyed what we've become, not just in Fayetteville, but what we've become in Northwest Arkansas. You know, Northwest Arkansas, we're all one, basically. And so John would have, it's no question in my mind, John would have been in every meeting involved that had anything to do with all of us working together. So that's a big part of who John was, and I think that's the spirit in the award. Tonight, to present the award, Kathy Grisham and Tommy Van Zandt. Okay.
I had to get my iPad worked out. You are. You gonna put it on my forehead? For the John Lewis Award, as Joe Fennell aptly said, Scott Van Landingham. We didn't get many details on Scott about where he grew up or anything like that, because nobody wanted to talk about Scott. Hometown, he was kind of forgotten, I think. So he came to Northwest Arkansas, and he is achieving this John Lewis Award, just like Joe Fennell was awarded, as well as, who else we got? Alan Fortenberry, and I think one other. But anyway, Scott came up here and, or in his early years, was a newspaperman, and I think he was throwing papers, but supposedly he wrote articles for the newspaper. He eventually befriended Uvalde Lindsay, who we all know in Northwest Arkansas, and they both were co-creators with several others of the Northwest Arkansas Council. So after he had thrown papers for quite a while in the media world, he was on the front page of papers because he eventually became the CEO of XNA. And we all know the story of XNA. Everyone thought it was going to be some podunk airfield out in the middle of cow pastures. And the cow pasture part is correct. as well as the chicken coops. As you fly in or fly out, everybody notices those and wonders where the heck am I and why am I here? So he, with the Northwest Arkansas Council, has achieved so many incredible things, especially at XNA. I know he gets tired of everybody in Northwest Arkansas asking for a cheaper air carrier. And I think they have accomplished that. Like many other good leaders, he surrounded himself with the right people, such as Kelly Johnson, who's now the COO of XNA. And I was speaking to Kelly a few minutes ago, and I said, how is it working at the airport without Scott? And she said, man, we're getting stuff done now that we don't have that bump in the road we gotta keep dealing with. I'm gonna get my lovely assistant to change my iPad page. Actually, next page, please. I'm sorry. I gotta get an iPad, the real one. Okay, go to the next other side. Thank you. So, anyway, Scott was one of the original members of CEO Forum in 2006. He seemed to always lead by being the first at whatever he is thrown into. He becomes the first one to take the next step and the next step. Scott and I share a heritage. His name is Van Landingham, and I'm Van Zant. So he's bald, I'm bald, and I think we're two Dutch men caught here in Northwest Arkansas, but I'm sure we're related like everybody in Arkansas is. So he's just always had a great sense of humor. When I joined CEO Forum 1, Scott was there, as he always is or was. Now that he's retired, we don't know if he's going to show up or not, but he is. When I came in, I saw Scott and never met him before, but I'd seen him all over TV. This was in the early 2000s, and so I was in awe of him when I rolled in, and he is such an enlightened force of information, force of good questions, great advice, and he will be missed, assuming he chooses to play golf. Uvalde Lindsay said of Scott that he was always one to recognize what the potential of Northwest Arkansas was from the very beginning. So I will tell you now, it's a great pleasure to award the John Lewis Award to a man that has brought so much to our area, and he will continue to. He's hiding behind a column over there. Where is it? Scott Van Landingham, everybody.
I did throw the newspapers for a while before I wrote for them, so that part was actually absolutely correct. But sitting here watching that, and particularly the other folks that have gotten recognized, and Tommy's absolutely right, it is particularly rewarding for those, as one who had the privilege and the honor to know John Lewis in this building and actually see this building develop and see what's happened on the square that we now take for granted, but for John and Hayden and some folks like that would be a much different place. Actually, all of Northwest Arkansas would. It's a particular honor to receive this award. But I'm going to take just a minute to then reflect back on those younger folks that I just saw entering those first classes. And I recall the day very well. I had never heard of a CEO forum when John Lewis called me out of the blue one day and said, there's this group that we're putting together and I think you'd be a good candidate for it. And I just basically, it was John, so you say, yes sir, well whatever I need to do. And it took me, I'll be honest with you, it took me a while to understand the significance, the importance to me, as Kelly can tell you, to our organization and to those young kids that are just starting down this path. But let me tell you, it will pay dividends. And the example that I use, and I won't go into the details of the names, but I didn't realize it at the time, but Tommy mentioned it was 1992 when we came back from Little Rock and I started on the path that I'm on. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I made some connections with 3 or 4 people that I did not realize it at the time. They also came on the scene within 2 years, a year or 2 of when I did. And I cannot tell you the number of times that over that next 25 some odd years, the counsel, the help, the support from those folks has turned out to be tremendous. I know it's it can be another item on your calendar. That there's a tendency to think about all of the other things that you need to be doing, but what you are doing with that time that you all spend together is you are investing in yourselves. And trust me, it will pay big dividends. It is, I applaud you all for doing that. One of the reasons I'm excited about getting this award is because of the namesake and what it's meant to me. So thank you, congratulations. And I am convinced, as I said a thing similar to this earlier, I am convinced that the next 25 years in Northwest Arkansas are going to look a lot like the last 25 years. So your future is bright. I have no doubt about that. You don't need me I'll be happy to come visit occasionally, Tommy, but you all are doing just fine. You're headed in the right direction. The fact that you're participating in this program is going to be of benefit to you as well as Northwest Arkansas. Thank you.
All right, we've got one more award this evening. Mike Smith, here we go. Mike's the chair of the CEO Forum 5, which is based in Central Arkansas. And our final award tonight is Member of the Year Award. Mike?
Yeah, I had the privilege of 12 founders in Central Arkansas letting me in the room with them once a month, and it's the most rewarding thing I do these days, and I appreciate that. Would all of the people that drove up from Little Rock that are here, Tim, I see you, Phil, would y'all stand up? Just a little show of Little Rock here. we kind of preach co-contamination or what's the real word? Cross-pollination. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Among Northwest Arkansas and Central Arkansas. And so I'm just thrilled to see some of our forum members up here to meet you, and I'd encourage any of you that don't know these folks, please, if you see them, go shake their hand and introduce yourself. If they don't, there's about 50 of you and about 12 of them, so they'd love to meet you. It's a great family to be in the CEO Forum. One of our members, Terry Baskin, CEO of RX Results, battled cancer for about a year and a half. In 2018, he attended 11 out of 12 meetings, probably better than anybody in the room in terms of attendance. And while he battled cancer, and he was positive, he showed his wisdom, he was inspirational to our members, and I think very deserving of this award. I don't want this all to come from me. We as a group each put a few words down on paper about Terry, either addressed to Terry or to Mary, his wife, who's here tonight to receive this award. Terry passed away in March. He knew he was getting this award, but we weren't able to get it to him before his last day. I'll read a few of just so you can get a sense for what Terry meant to this group. Mary, it was a pleasure knowing your husband. He was someone that I looked up to and respected. Terry was such a kind and pleasant person. He was inspirational to be around. I'm blessed to know Terry. Terry was such a delight to get to work with in the CEO Forum. After seeing you and your heart at Terry's service, we can see how he was able to be so extraordinary. Terry was always a light of truth and openness, and truly someone always looked forward to seeing and sharing with at the forum. I'll just end with mine, and mine was just a note to Terry. Terry, you never let up. You made 11 of 12 meetings in 2018. While you were fighting cancer, you inspired us all with your commitment, your positive attitude, your helpful spirit, and your sense of humor. We miss you. That's for me. Mary and Alan are here to accept this award. Would y'all come up? Alan is the interim CEO of RX Results. Say a few words, please.
Don't know what to say, but I think that I can wrap up Terry's life with just one word, and that's love. Terry loved everything around him. He loved everything that he did. He loved duck hunting. He loved sports. He loved Razorbacks. He loved people. And because Terry loved people, people loved him. And I think if there was just one thing that I could encourage you with in your careers, all of you are already very good at what you do or you wouldn't be here. But Terry, I think, was exemplary in loving people. And I think that's probably why he got this award, because everybody loved him because he loved them. He didn't want to miss a meeting. He loved being with his group. And sometimes I would say, Terry, why don't you just stay home? You need some rest. And he'd say, no, I need to be with these guys. And he loved giving back. He loved an audience. He loved jokes. He had all kinds of jokes, but Terry, people loved being around him, and that played out everywhere he went. But in his company, I would say that the success of his company also partially revolved around not only his wisdom, the hard knocks, the tough lessons that he had learned that he liked to share, but because he loved his people. His office was a second family to him. And I remember the day when, things were early, and Terry would spend part of his day, every day, walking around and talking to all the people. He would go into every office and spend 5-10 minutes talking about their families, the things that they liked to do, what they were going to do over the weekend. And I would say, Terry, we are paying these people by the hour, and you are chatting them up. And he would just look at me, and he would just say, I think it's important. And then I would say, okay, you take the number of people times 10 minutes, how much could you be accomplishing in that time? And he would say, it's worth it. And sometimes it takes a funeral for you to learn that it's worth it. Terry's funeral was packed, and everybody there felt special to Terry, and he made every one of them feel that way. And I believe now that those 10 minutes that he would spend with them early in the day, they made up by spending an extra 30 minutes in the evening trying to accomplish as much as they could because they wanted to please Terry. And they wanted the company to be successful, and they put everything that they had into the company because they loved him. And if there was one thing that I have learned, if I was in your shoes and if I was going to be leading a group of people, when you love them and they know it, they become family, and they will do as much as they can for you. And we all wanted to please Terry and do everything that we could for him. And by giving Terry this award right here near the end of his life, he was so tickled with it. He mentioned to me several times that he was getting this award, and I will confess that I didn't believe it. I thought that the guys in his group were wanting to encourage him by telling Terry how much they missed him and how he was going to be member of the year. And so when he told me, they said, I'm going to be member of the year, I said, oh, Terry. I said, they love you, and you are their member of the year. But I didn't know that this was true. And when I see this beautiful award, and I'll get to take it home, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of Terry's life, because he really did love you all. Thank you.
I don't think I can add much to that, but Mary, he did chat me up quite a bit. But that's who Terry was. He was a mentor to all of us. He really loved that. That was a passion for him. He did, I know he was a guest lecturer at UA Little Rock on entrepreneurship, and really, he got excited every time he had the opportunity to do that. I think he would have loved to be here tonight to accept this award, and I'm honored to be here to accept it on his behalf. So thank you very much.
Okay, we'll make this real brief.
Our fearless leader.
Thank you all for coming tonight. There's a lot of wonderful people in this room. I remember when Tommy Van Sant first came into CO Forum 1, and you couldn't bring up a problem, but you couldn't look over to Tommy and say it's solvable. You just kind of relax and say, well, what am I talking about? He was so inspiring to us. Brother Kim's here. Mike was a great member of CO Forum 1. Jeff Amaran and Jeanette Baeza and Kelly Johnson are here, part of CO Forum 2 when it started. Scott Van Lanningham was in the first meeting, the first conference call to Jim Myers, and when Scott spent some time in the Vistage Forum, they said he was the wisest guy in the room, and I got to believe that some of the CO Forum members helped him develop that wisdom. And Tom Porterfield and all those, the CO Forum in Little Rock is incredible. It's just a bunch of great people. And then, and Mike Schmidt does such a great job with that forum.
And then Ed Nicholson and his group does an incredible job with the Accelerate Leadership Forum. Ed's getting his stride. Ed ought to get philanthropy person of the year, all the things he's doing over and above what he does for us. But it's great seeing all the people that grow and see your successes. Sarah, go for it. What an example. Carol Reeves is such a superstar. Ramsey Ball, he was a commercial real estate, all about the fee, kind of like he might be, but he's a community developer, and that's real. Stuart Nance doing great work. Grace, good to see you all here. Clay, good to see you. So anyway, thank you all for being here, and hope you have. We still have time for some hors d'oeuvres and some to congratulate the people who got awarded. Mary, thank you for coming down. It means a lot to us, and hope that's good for you. It was good for us. Some people shared some things tonight that took a little time, but they deserve that. They needed that. That's good for them, and I appreciate you all being a part of that. As Tommy says, they get to leave a little part of them with you, and you with them, hopefully. So with that, let's congratulate everybody. Hang out and have another cocktail. Phil's got some good whiskey back there. He guarantees it's some of the best. And if you hadn't met him, make sure you meet him from Rocktown. And appreciate each one of you for coming tonight.